victory and heartbreak at the San Marino GP, who thrived, who faltered, and what it all means for MotoGP's 2025 title race. Let's dive into the highs, lows, and everything in between from this pivotal European round. Spoiler alert. Not everything went as expected for the usual suspects. The triumph of Marco Bezzecchi. Marco Bezzecchi, Aprilia's rising star, turned Misano into his personal stage. Winning the British GP earlier this year was impressive, but this weekend was something else. Taking pole position and the sprint race in front of his home crowd, that's the kind of performance that writes legends. Even a hard-fought second place in the main race, where he gave Marc Marquez a run for his money, felt like a win. But the real magic? This was Aprilia's first Italian GP since Jorge Martin's exit. Bezzecchi's leadership shone brighter than ever, especially with his team now focused and free of distractions. Oh, and his post-race celebration? A wooden leg gag that left fans and even some Italians scratching their heads. Fun fact, the joke's roots trace back to a 19th century Italian comedy trope. Culture shock for outsiders, but pure gold for locals. Joan Mir's misfortune. Honda's Joan Mir had a weekend to forget. It started with a crash in Friday practice that left him with a neck injury bad enough to skip Saturday entirely. The silver lining? He'd already set a fast enough time for Q2 entry, landing him 12th on the grid. But that mercy didn't last. On Sunday, he crashed on lap 1, taking out teammate Johann Zarco in the process. Meanwhile, his teammate Luca Marini is flying high, making Mir's struggles all the more glaring. Here's a controversial thought. Should teams prioritize rider form over loyalty when pairing teammates? We'd love to hear your take in the comments. VR46's quiet dominance. Valentino Rossi's VR46 racing team had a masterclass in consistency. Fabio di Giannantonio and Franco Morbidelli delivered a textbook weekend. Strong sprints, clean races, and podium-worthy finishes. Morbidelli's 5th-place grid slot and 4th-place finish were a relief after earlier season chaos. For a Ducati satellite team, this was peak performance. Rossi must have been grinning from ear to ear, but here's the twist. Can VR46 sustain this momentum as the season heats up? Or was this just a flash in the pan? Brad Binder's tech woes. Brad Binder and his KTM had a weekend straight out of a horror movie. Engine braking issues, a broken chain, twice, and a sprint race-ending mechanical failure. It was a nightmare. Binder's frustration was palpable as he lashed out at his bike mid-race. He salvaged 10th place on Sunday, but it's hard to ignore the growing concerns about KTM's reliability. And this is the part most people miss. Binder's issues might not be mechanical at all. Could it be a setup problem? Or is the team underinvesting in rider-specific solutions? Marc Marquez's redemption. Marc Marquez's weekend was a roller coaster. A sprint race crash and a Q2 exit in Saturday's session. Not ideal for a rider chasing history. But come Sunday, he summoned his signature grit to win the main race, passing Bezzecchi with a mix of tactical brilliance and tire management. This win meant Marquez swept both Italian GPs in 2025, a first for Ducati. And let's not forget, winning in Rossi's backyard? That's a symbolic punch to the gut for rival fans. But here's the question. Is Marquez's resurgence a sign of peak form, or is he burning out as he chases another title? Enea Bastianini's collapse. Enea Bastianini, once unstoppable after the Czech GP, hit rock bottom. A Q1 exit sent him to 20th on the grid, his worst starting position since the season's early days. He clawed his way to 10th in the sprint, but crashed out of the main race on lap 12. 0 points, 0 momentum. For a rider riding on confidence, this must have been devastating. And this is the part most people miss. Bastianini's slump mirrors Rossi's 2008 title defense. Can he recover, or is this the start of a downward spiral? The bigger picture. The San Marino GP wasn't just about wins and losses. It was a microcosm of MotoGP's 2025 narrative. Aprilia's rise, Honda's struggles, and Ducati's dominance are all coming into focus. But here's where it gets controversial. Should the sports format favor consistency over raw speed? And what's the role of luck in a rider's success? We want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below. Agree, disagree, or just rage about Bastianini's crash. Let's keep the conversation alive.